Our next guest is outraged about Iran's regime and how it continues to take advantage of the United States, whether trying to play a role in the Syrian peace talks or expanding its influence in the wake of the nuclear deal with world powers. Joining us now, Fox News Middle East and terrorism analyst Dr. Waleed Phares. His forthcoming new book, The Lost Spring, will be published in March. We look forward to that. Waleed, good to have you here. Let's start with, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. These are very serious issues, but when we worry about the United States being taken advantage of by a country so much smaller in every respect, it is almost befuddling to think that the United States can't get a fair break from a small, relatively primitive country that we should easily be able to handle. What's going on?
Look, it is really unfortunate that the so-called deal between the administration and the Iranian regime, of course with the backing of many powers, that deal, at the end of the day, and the Iranians are the Iranian regime that is very proud about it, they are talking about it, is to their advantage. They are saying, and I quote, "We outmaneuvered the United States.
Right.
We took advantage." So definitely this is not going to be a win for us at the end of the day.
Well, just because they say it isn't a win for us doesn't necessarily make it so, as much of what they say is simply, well, not so. But the advantage that they may have received here, what do you see as the expression of that advantage? What is the evidence that they have outmaneuvered the Obama administration and John Kerry?
It is very simple, Lou. The entire Arab world, or most of it at least, realizes that Iran, number one, is still in Syria. It's backing Syria. By the way, which opened the file of us inviting Iran to Geneva while it has its forces inside Syria, still backing Hezbollah in Lebanon, still present in Iraq, still threatening Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, northern Yemen. More important than that, it's still building the long-range missiles. So on all fronts, except that 6 months where they're not going to do uranium production more than 5%. They're going to do all of that. They're going to continue to expand. And more importantly, what concerns me, Lou, they are receiving billions of dollars from us, unfrozen money.
$4.2 billion. There is another $100 billion out in the world in frozen Iranian assets, to which they now have access as well. But the money you're talking about, the 4.2, will be actually shipped directly to them. That's irretrievable, is it not?
First, we cannot do anything about it once we would transfer, and worse, we cannot tell them what not to do and what to do. So I am the leader of Iran and the regime in Iran. I will reinvest this money with the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. I will support Hezbollah. I will support Assad. Maybe worse, I will reinvest it here in the United States and in the West to obtain more influence. This is money that we are giving to them that they're going to use later on to consolidate their position worldwide before making any concession.
You know, I get kind of a kick out of Secretary Kerry and President Rouhani leading the negotiating teams for their respective nations. It reminds me of walking into a car dealership, talking with a car salesman, but he starts going back and forth with the sales manager. You know, the ideal is never to talk to the person who's going to be able to do more than talk. The reality here is that the government, our government, doesn't seem to have a clear outcome in mind that it can articulate to the American people, or has chosen not to.
Look, I think they do know what they want to see, meaning the negotiations have been there for 2 years. It's not overnight. They do know that the regime have promised them few things. They're going to bring those things probably by the early summer and then break that news to the public and try to win midterm elections. I mean, we know that. The Iranian regime basically is outmaneuvering them. He's promising the administration that he's going to deliver, but on the ground he is not going to deliver. So comes midsummer, you're going to hear speeches in Washington about winning the peace, and in fact, it's not going to be a reality.
Did the Obama administration somewhere along the line forget that Iranian forces directly attacked U.S. troops in Iraq, that they supported the anti-American forces in the field in Iraq, that they have been a state sponsor of terrorism, that they threaten still Israel, and they are approaching this as if it was a meeting at Home Depot, and everything will just conform to neighborhood zoning codes. I mean, I don't quite get it.
Look, I assume that our government is getting real information, real facts. Of course, everything you've mentioned, come on, our government should know that. What they're not getting is basically that the information they're getting from the analysts, from the advisors, mostly from those who negotiated and negotiate now with the Iranian regime, that all of this is going to change. This is where the problem is. They believe that the Iranian regime has done that, but it is going to change.
Dr. Waleed Phares, as always, thanks for your insight, your perspective. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Waleed. And a reminder to pick up my new book, Upheaval. You can get it online at bookstores everywhere. Take a minute to check us out on Twitter. Follow us at Lou Dobbs News. Go to our Facebook page. Links to everything found at loudobbs.com. And by the way, please listen to me, 3 times a day, my Lou Dobbs Financial Reports on Salem Radio Network. Lise Wheel returns with a review of her new historical novel. It's called Snapshot. The real-life inspiration for this gripping story revealed here next.
Did you know your blood vessels are as long as the U.S. oil pipeline system? These pipelines represent the heart of America's energy infrastructure. The Illyrian MLP ETF provides access to the 25 leading energy infrastructure MLPs that operate these pipelines.